Michelle Obama has launched a podcast and it's flopping. I mean, it's actually not that bad, to be completely honest. But for someone of Michelle Obama's stature and fame, you'd expect the numbers to be substantially better. Mediaite reports MAGA celebrates Michelle Obama's podcast debuting to abysmal numbers. Were you one of the 25,000 that listened? Well, I will say, thanks in part to the Streisand effect, her podcast now has 60,000 listeners. Brava, madame. For those who don't know, Michelle Obama launched with her brother, I think it is, a podcast. And, the speculation is Michelle Obama is going to launch a 2028 presidential bid. Or at the very least, this is an effort to counter Joe Rogan. The Democrats have been arguing they don't have one for so long. They needed something. And here it is. Seriously, it's kind of sad, but here it is. Mediaite reports. Right-wing influencers on X celebrated this week as former First Lady Michelle Obama's new podcast debuting to disappointing numbers on YouTube. Okay, I got to be honest. Michelle Obama should have got 1 million plus on the first episode. I've talked about how YouTube works, the algorithm, all of these things, growth, celebrity. I know how the machine works to a great degree. And you would have expected an initial burst for Michelle Obama. What we see here indicates that her views are only going to go down from here. The reason the first episode has about 59,000 viewers, just over 59,000, is because curious people will check it out and then they'll leave because it's not good. Miss Obama and her brother Craig Robinson announced the launch of a video podcast Monday, promising weekly episodes, and dropped 2 episodes to kickstart the venture. IMO, short for In My Opinion, uploads 2 weeks. And you know what's really funny? Hey, come on. You kidding me? Michelle Obama IMO? That sounds a lot like Timcast IRL. Whatever. I'm half kidding, by the way. Here's the YouTube channel. Michelle Obama, 19,400 subscribers. And you can see they put up what appears to be some kind of clip. 1,000 views in an hour. Hey. Here's a full episode. Wow. An hour-long podcast. 19,000 views. Jeez. The trailer has 22,000. And the first episode, You Should Start a Podcast with Your Sibling, has 59,000 one day ago. It is really, really bad. So let me tell you, when I launched Timcast IRL, I had this channel and I had my channel, youtube.com/Timcast. Surprisingly, this channel's now actually way bigger. Man, I don't know everything about the space, but the youtube.com/Timcast channel was a different audience to this one. This channel was built organically. youtube.com/Timcast was built off of, not inorganically, but what I want to say is what built up this channel was a massive amount of views over a long period of time, brute force, basically. The main channel was single episodes over a long period of time. Joe Rogan's shout out obviously massively boosted the channel, but a series of different views on different channels netted a lot of new subscribers. I decided I'd shut that one down, converting it to the Culture War podcast, so the views are substantially lower, and keeping the work on this one. And now this channel has actually, what are we looking at? 1,710,000 subscribers and growing. Very cool. Thank you guys for subscribing. Share this video, comment. Let me talk to you guys about podcasts. First, the reason why they're doing this. They say Joe Rogan, who is viewed on the right as the podcasting standard bearer. Stop. Joe Rogan is the biggest podcast. Sometimes leftist podcasts surpass him, but he's the biggest. I'll tell you right. Let me read a little bit more. They dropped an interview late Wednesday with venture capitalist Jacques Vallée that quickly racked up nearly 800,000 views. Rogan's interviews with Bill Murray, Elon Musk, and Woody Harrelson in recent weeks saw viewership ranging from 3.5 to 12 million. Massive. With Ms. Obama's podcast failing to hit those kinds of numbers after its launch, MAGA influencers circled the wagons and many declared the venture a failure. I didn't. That's why they didn't include my tweet. What I said, let me show you some of the tweets. Benny Johnson says, first couple of episodes flopped. You got Robbie Starbucks saying, the show has 14,000 views. They're just another woke company propping up unpopular wokeness. Were you one of the 25,000? Preliminary viewings are from Michelle Obama's. So that's not from Eric Daugherty, not really saying anything bad. One person says Michelle Obama was loved. This is Brittany Hugoboom in the 2010s. Now with a mass marketing campaign, got less views. That's right. Michelle Obama's podcast was getting blasted all over the media. It does not have any pull. I'm going to say a few things. Michelle Obama's launch was fantastic for any podcaster. Absolutely fantastic. That was my tweet. Hitting 25,000 views in your first episode crosses you over the host read ad threshold. Now, for Michelle Obama, it's really bad. There's no mass marketing anymore. Here's the other thing. While everybody is saying, Joe Rogan's the biggest and the best, my understanding is still, and no disrespect to Joe, but every podcaster's views are going down. That's right, not up. But how can that be? Certainly, this is the podcast presidency. The space is expanding. There's more viewers. There's more podcasts. And more people are finding niche podcasts to watch. Plus, there's platform divergence. So for me, here's the crazy thing. We joined Rumble. YouTube views, of course, are lower than they were a year or two ago. But you combine Rumble and Spotify and Apple, actually around the same. So I would put it this way. I'd give our performance at Timcast a B-. Good, not great. We've expanded into new areas. The company's expanded. We built a new facility. We have more people. We're making more money. Viewership has improved to a certain degree, but it's spread out. There's a lot of newer shows that launched within a year or the last year, and they're getting tremendously more views than we ever did. That's why I say B-. Like good, not great, but like a little bit, it's pretty good. Michelle Obama should have launched like Brett Cooper launched, with millions of views and now hitting like 500,000. Isn't that crazy? Let's just say this. Brett Cooper is getting like 500,000, or I don't know what the last episode was, but, on an episode, and I think it's once a week, Michelle Obama's first couldn't muster up 60,000. Let me say this. Michelle Obama will continue. We'll see how long it goes, but they are going to now be attacking this space. And I told you it was going to happen. I was not wrong. If you listen to Timcast, you're ahead of the curve. What did I say? They know they lost because they don't reach this podcast audience. They're inauthentic. They're not reaching millennials and young people, and they're going to attack this space. They're going to prop up liberals. They're going to dump money behind it. What are they doing? Mass media campaign to prop up Michelle. Everybody's coming out being like, her podcast numbers are so miserable. Look how big Benny is, or Tim, or Russell Brand, or Joe Rogan. They are not going to stop here. She launches her show. They're going to put money into it. It's going to appear at the top of all these digital platforms. They're going to go to Spotify. They're going to go to Netflix, and they are going to try and buy this space out. Now, I don't think they're going to figure it out, to be honest. I think there's a possibility. And read Sun Tzu. You never underestimate your political opponents, your enemies. Here's what I think. I think the older generation really doesn't understand authenticity. I don't have scripts. I never script anything. I literally hit the record button and I just say words. Even on TV, everything is scripted. Everything they do, it's a script. It's a script. This is why people like Trump. Trump doesn't do it. Trump's got prompters sometimes, but he goes off prompter and he says funny things. And then people laugh. So they can still try and buy the space with what institutional power they have. Maybe some of that slush fund money from the government before Biden left. The gold bars they were throwing off the Titanic. They're going to put up billboards. They're going to buy the space. But hold on there a minute. There was one story. I think Barack Obama had a podcast with, was it Spotify? Was that it? Renegades? Is that what it called? Barack Obama, a series of conversations. And apparently people were pointing out, and I could be wrong about this. Right, here we go. 2022. Let's pull this one up. Been there, done that. Barack and Michelle Obama to end exclusive podcasting deal with Spotify, reports say. You know why? This is why. Nobody watched. The institutional power is gone. The narrative machine has failed. Ratings for various websites are in the gutter. And I'll go back now to the point I was saying about podcast views going down. It used to be a single broadcast tower. The powers that be controlled who was at the top. You'd only listen to one of three guys and they'd tell you what to believe and when to believe it. So, of course, 60, 70 million views. Then the internet emerged and the tower started to flatten out as more and more people joined in. And instead of being a single tower, it was more like a pyramid. There were smaller podcasts, smaller personalities, but all of them combined mattered and overwhelmed the machine, and Trump wins. Memed into the presidency. Today, it's flattening out even further. Of course, Joe Rogan's still on the top. But based on my analyses, let me actually just see if I can do a quick, maybe I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that even Joe, everybody has seen a general decline in total viewers. So what's going on with this website? Are they giving me the actual numbers here? They're not. Oh, no. Social Blade updated. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I do think as massive as Joe Rogan is, and he is oh, yeah. There we go. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to pull this in. I'm actually surprised by this. Again, guys, I'm going to stress this. I am not saying this to disparage Joe in any way, so please bear with me. The JRE podcast got 39 million views in the past 14 days. That's fantastic. I mean, he's looking at 80 million for the month. I'm pretty sure he was getting some 200 million before. I could be wrong. Still very massive show. 5.9 billion. I mean, he is double, triple, massive platinum. It's not loading properly. Detailed charts. It's not actually giving me the full data. That's what happens when you update your website. There you go. So, but I think Joe had like 200 million a while ago, and maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was much more than that, and I could be wrong. Now, the one thing to consider is these websites like Social Blade appear to show an increase in views because of shorts on YouTube, but shorts do not convert, and they are bad in this space. So across the board, there's a general lowering of views. Now, to be fair, some people are seeing an increase in views. Don't get me wrong. That's why I'm saying I would give the Timcast company like a B-. Timcast IRL's average has gone up, but our spike viewership it fluctuates politically. During election years, we see massive numbers. With big guests, massive numbers. When it's politically contentious, right now we're getting in the warm season. Expect to see most people see a small drop in their viewership because people go outside and hang out. In the winter, you get more views. For us, 2022 was 2021 started hot and then cooled quite a bit. 2022 sort of went up a little bit in the midterms, and then 23 a little bit more, 24 a little bit more. We've actually maintained that into this year, which I'm excited by. My point is simply this. Everybody's going to feel the heat. Everybody's going to see a decline. It's whether or not, let me put it this way. Everybody's going to lose views no matter what they do. Some will gain in spite of the losses. More people are setting up podcasts. Michelle Obama's here, and there's a finite amount of attention in the world. The YouTube channels that will succeed are the ones that are going to cater to the largest audience possible. So, I'm going to give you guys a hint. You want to make a podcast that gets big? All right. You ready for this? The first podcast that uses AI to translate the show into every other language will be the biggest podcast in the world. They've already done it. They use AI to convert movies into other languages where the mouths actually move, and you don't need to hire people anymore. It's that simple. And so right now, what we could do is, theoretically, we're exploring this. We can take the transcription from Timcast IRL, and we can run it through an AI that will change the language into any language we want. Right now, the system isn't completely built. It's not super easy. But once we get the plug and play automatic, click the button, and the full video turns to Spanish, and everyone's mouth is moving like it's Spanish, biggest podcast in the world. That's your hint. For everybody else, I say don't underestimate Michelle Obama. Though they failed on Spotify or whatever it is, this is an independent operation. They're going to put money behind it. And you may mock Michelle, maybe because you want to discourage them, fine. But when you get 10,000 prominent liberal Democrat types all launching podcasts, eventually someone figures it out. So, never underestimate your opponents. They're going to flood the space. The views will decline, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to leave it there, my friends. Stay tuned. Timcast IRL coming up tonight at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.